Microsoft Excel is used by a variety of professionals today to import, process, and analyze data. Many jobs require passing of Excel assessment test as part of the hiring process. In this video, we'll focus on Excel test for bookkeepers. Let's first look at what bookkeepers do and why Microsoft Excel is an essential part of their daily life. Bookkeepers use bookkeeping software, Excel spreadsheets, and databases. They post financial transactions. They also receive and record cash, checks, and vouchers. They put cost debits and income credits into the software, assigning each to an appropriate account. They generate reports such as balance sheets, cost compared with income. They also generate income statements and totals by account. They also check for accuracy in figures, posting in reports, and reconcile and note any report and any difference they find in the records. In this video, we will look at Excel assessment test that typically asked by employers as part of bookkeeping hiring process. We will look at the questions and answers being asked, and I'll demonstrate you and do a walkthroughs using Microsoft Excel applications on the best ways to answer those questions. I'll also share with you tips, tricks, and hacks on how to make sure that you pass the exam. You will have everything you need here to get prepared for Bookkeeper Excel assessment test. Now let's look at the top questions that are being asked as part of Excel assessment test. A lot of times when you work with the data from another source, you may need to separate the data into the separate columns. For example, here we see a combination of first and last name in column A, but in columns B and C, you see these values as separate values. So how would you do it? Which Excel function would you use? You're presented with the 4 different choices: text to column, separate function, split function, and split to column. Which one would you choose? And the correct answer here is split to column. To access this functionality, you need to select the values and navigate to the Data tab. Here you select text to column, and it offers you different choices. For example, it offers as a delimited text or fixed width. In our case, it's a delimited, and delimitation comes with the space sign that we use to separate the values. Instead of tab, we choose space, which is one of the values, and you see this is how the separation and split will be performed. We click the next button, and here we can assign data types to the data. If we don't do it, then Excel will assign general data type, and then we can click finish. And you see that it automatically replaced the values in column A and column B, and now we have first and last name in the separate columns. So the correct answer is answer A, text to column function. This function is used to separate words that have a separator character, for example, space, special character, tab, or any unique word. Keep in mind that even though we call it function, it is not really a function, it's a functionality. And below are instructions on how to use it. Other choices here in the list, separate function, or split to column, they do not exist in Excel. So you kind of have to know what you're dealing with, and that's what the purpose of this question, to test your knowledge on this particular functionality, and if you have used it as part of data conversion. I'd like to share with you some tips, tricks, and hacks how to get ready for Excel assessment test. One of the best ways to get prepared is to use mock and practice assessment tests. This helps you get better knowledge of the tool and better understanding how to pass the test. I also recommend that you read questions carefully, ideally more than once if you have enough time. Also, you should consider answer easy questions first, if you have a choice of going back and forth. This allows you to get your answers in for the easy questions and then process more complicated questions with more time and knowledge and better understanding to give you more chances to get them right. I also recommend validating the answers to the questions with more than one method. For example, if you have formulas to validate the question, and then you can use pivot tables to validate the answers. And last but not least is watch training videos from this channel, from other channels, from as many sources as you can to get prepared. Now let's continue and help you to get ready for Excel interview and assessment test. Let's look at the question which Excel formula would increment month to the next and allow display February 20 in the cell A3. Here in the screenshot, we have January-20 in the cell A2. And there are 4 formulas presented as choices. In choice A, we have A2 plus 1, which makes logical sense. In the choice B, we have more complicated formula using date function. In the choice C, we have month A2 plus 1, and in the choice D, we have date A2 plus 1. So which one would you choose? Which one do you think is the right answer? And as you might have figured out by now, the right choice is choice B, We have the complex formula because date in Excel is very complex. You can increment the year by 1, months by 1, or date by 1. And in our case, we're only incrementing month by 1. So once we type the formula, we see that the right value shows up here, which would be February 2020. We just need to change the format here. And to change the format, we can use Format Painter. We just need to highlight the current format that we're looking at and apply it to this cell and expand it a little bit so it fits. So the correct answer is B, with this complex date formula where only month is being incremented by 1. All other choices are designed to trick you. Why you might consider subscribing to this channel. This is one of the fastest way to learn and get prepared for Excel assessment test. Skills you learn are helpful today and in the future. You get answers to your questions. You have opportunity to help other people. And you have experienced professionals who already subscribe to this channel and ready to help you with any answers that you need. Now let's continue and help you to get ready for Excel interview and assessment test. Very often, you might be tested on your knowledge to manipulate Excel strings. This is a sample question in this category. Which formula is used to make first letter in a word uppercase? What we see here on the screen, in column A, all values are lowercase. In column B, the same values represented with only first character uppercase. And there are 4 choices presented. A, proper, first upper, left up, and uppercase. Which one would you choose? The correct answer here is to use proper function. And this is the syntax. All you need to do is type the function and reference the cell, in this case it's cell A3, which contains the original value. And you see that the value was converted with the first letter being uppercase and the remaining letters in the word being lowercase. If you need to expand this function, you can use copy and paste or just drag it to represent updated values in all the cells in column B. So the correct answer here is choice A, proper, and then you reference the original value from original cell. A lot of you are interested and asking me, how can I help others? One of the ways you can help other people is by sharing the latest questions that you see on Excel interview and assessment test, and how you answered them. Please share the questions you recently encountered in the comments section of this video. If you know the answers, please share them as well. Now let's continue and help you to get ready for Excel interview and assessment test. Very often during Excel assessment test, you might be tested on how well you know Excel formatting. One of the questions we see on the screen is in a similar category. How to increase decimals of a value which has percentage sign. And there are choices presented for you and the explanation of what exactly you're looking for to accomplish. For example, you need to go from 76% to 76.25, from 70 after rounding 69.75, and etc. And there are 4 choices presented. So which one would you choose? You see the values in this example are replicated from cells I3 through I7. So how would you increase percentage sign? You actually use this button, which calls for increase decimal. And once you click it once, it increases decimal by 1 decimal point. If you click it twice, it adds 2 decimal points, which exactly mimics the answer. Or instead of selecting one at a time, you can select all of the values and then click it twice to increase decimal points. So the correct answer here is B, which is increase decimal point. And once you see the answer, you need to click increase decimal point value twice after you selected all the range of values to increase decimal points. So can you tell us how many questions did you answer correctly? Please post in the comments of this video to share with others. Now let's continue and help you to get ready for Excel interview and assessment test. Let's look at the question, which Excel date format would you use to display date January 1st, 2020 as January-20. There are 4 choices presented: month-YY, MMMM-YY, 3 M's and -YY, and then month-short year. To answer this question correctly, it requires your knowledge of custom Excel date formats. Custom formats located under the Home tab in the Number section. If you click Number, in this expansion button here on the Number section, you see different choices. This is not a default format of what we're looking to change it to, as if you scroll down, you do not see it on the list. To create this format, we need to go to the Custom Format sections and look at the possible options. Obviously, if you have access to Excel, during the test, you can just go and try any one of these formats. But there is a logic to the custom date formats in Excel. For example, you do not see the full words like month or year or short year here on the list. You only see specific letters representing the months. For example, if we pick 3ms-YY, it will present months as the 3-letter months. In our case, January-20, JAN-20. Let me show you one cool trick right here in the Format Cells dialog box. You do not even have to leave the dialog box to see how the final format date is going to look like. When I choose the different custom format, or if I type the format, it shows it right in the sample sections. You see, as I'm switching in between sections, it changes how sample is going to look like. And you can try an experiment, for example, by adding number of letters M in your custom format. So the correct answer to this question is 4ms-YY. All other choices are designed to trick you. If we go back to the question, the correct answer is B, 4ms-YY. All other choices are designed to trick you, to believe that you might be looking at the right answer, but they are not valid options in Excel or incorrect for the particular question. So how Excel assessment test is different during COVID-19? You need to be prepared to take Excel assessment test at home. You might be monitored using camera or other features that provider has. You also should anticipate questions based on the job position. For example, if you're applying for accountant, you need to better understand what types of work is done by accountant and what types of questions might be asked during the interview. You also need to research and practice before the test. Your abilities being tested is not necessarily your knowledge of Excel, but your ability to answer questions correctly and in a timely manner. I also recommend that you reflect after the test and take notes. After every test that you pass, look at what worked, what didn't work, and how you can improve. And last but not least is try to improve your hands-on and Excel skills. To do that, download latest version of Excel, use practice sheets, download ebooks, and do a lot of hands-on exercises to get you ready. Now let's continue and help you to get ready for Excel interview and assessment test. A lot of times during Excel assessment test, you will be tested on your knowledge of Excel keyboard shortcuts. In this particular question, you're being asked what is the keyboard shortcut of the auto sum in Excel, and you present it with the 4 different choices. So there are 4 different shortcuts. The first one is Alt equal, Alt S, Alt D, and then Alt A. What do you think is the right answer? One thing to keep in mind here is that there are only 2 keyboard keys that you need to press. For example, plus sign is not plus sign that you press on the keyboard. Plus sign just indicates that there are 2 keys, Alt and another key. For example, equal sign, Alt and another key, for example, capital S. So, with that in mind, what do you think is the right answer? There are multiple ways to trigger AutoSum function in Excel. For example, if you have a set of values, and typically it's in numerical values, like in the column B in this case, you can trigger AutoSum function by just clicking on the AutoSum, and you see that automatically on the Home tab, AutoSum in Editing section, it shows you the shortcut. So for example, if you know where the sum function is, you can quickly find what the shortcut is. And in this case, the answer is Alt plus equal sign. And once you trigger this shortcut, it highlights the area, and once you click Enter, it inserts the sum of the values. To learn more about shortcuts used in Excel assessment test, I recommend my PDF ebook that you can download from my website. In this book, I have the whole section dedicated to keyboard shortcuts. You can see that the section here covers Excel shortcuts, frequently used shortcuts, formatting, function key shortcuts, navigational shortcuts, column and row shortcuts, and then control shortcuts. All of these shortcuts have been selected based on the questions we see on the tests. And in addition to shortcuts, you will also find top 50 Excel interview questions and Excel assessment test questions used during Excel assessment test to get you ready and get you hired for your new employment. As you probably figured out by now, the correct answer to the question is A, Alt plus equal sign. And once you press this shortcut after selecting all the values, you will get AutoSum function triggered, and then you just need to hit Enter to execute it. Let's look at the question: which Excel formula would you use in one cell to generate random numbers between 200 and 500 in the range between B2 and F13? And it shows you a sample of the random values, which has values after decimal point And the range we're looking at between B2 and F13 populated with the numbers in the predefined range. And there are 4 choices. We have rand, rand between, rand array. All 3 of those are valid Excel functions. And in the choice D, none of the above. So how would you answer? What do you think is the right choice? And if you followed along during the practice exercise, you probably learned that the rand array is the right function. And the key here is that it asks in one cell. So to use the rand array function, you would use this syntax. You will specify how many rows will you need to add, how many columns, which is 5 in our case, what is the range of values, 200 through 500, and then you will decide if you want any values after the decimal point. And if we hit enter, it will populate our values with the random numbers in the predefined range. You probably can consider other functions like rand or rand between as valid choices to answer this question, if there wouldn't be a statement here to use in one cell. Because rand array really expands, you put it in one cell and then expands into the other cells to populate all the required values. So the correct choice here is rand array, and all other choices are designed to trick you. To create new tab in Excel, what would you do? And the right answer here is you click the plus sign next to the existing Excel sheet. When you open up new Excel sheet, next to the sheet 1, there is a small plus sign. And to create a new tab, you just click on the plus sign and that creates a new sheet. You see, I just clicked and it created sheet 2. And here's the correct answer. Keep in mind that term Excel tab is the same as Excel sheet, and they're used in questions and help documentations interchangeably. Let me share with you the best ways to learn and get prepared for Excel assessment test. You need to dedicate uninterrupted chunks of time. And when your attention drifts, make sure you take a break. You can download workbooks and repeat steps in the workbooks to make sure you understand how this exercise has been completed and done. I also recommend that you watch this video from start to finish. A lot of times there are tips and tricks and hacks shared in one part of the video that might be applicable to another part of the video, and I don't want you to miss any of it. Make sure you download all the materials offered in the description of this video. And when you're watching, set the playback speed so that it keeps you engaged and gives you time to absorb the content. Here in this video, you have everything you need to get you prepared. Here is the variation of this question, which provides you with the different choices. To create new sheet in Excel, you use Ctrl-T keyboard shortcut. Click File, New Sheet. Click New Icon on the Quick Access toolbar, or right mouse click on existing sheet and select Insert. Let's use exclusion to answer this question correctly. Exclusions is one of the methods where you exclude possible choices to come up with the right answer. Ctrl-T keyboard shortcut is used to create new tables, not new sheets. File, New Sheet option doesn't exist in Excel menu. New icon in the Quick Access toolbar create new workbook, not a new sheet. So through the method of exclusion, we came to choice D, which is the right mouse click on existing sheet and select Insert. To create new sheet in Excel, you right mouse click on the sheet 1, click Insert, and select Worksheet. And that added a new worksheet into Excel spreadsheet. So the right choice here is choice D. Right mouse click on existing sheet and select Insert. Other choices are designed to trick you to believe that you might be the right answer, but they're not the valid option in Excel or incorrect for this particular question. What are the smartest ways to get prepared for Excel test? One of the things you can do is download the latest version of Excel and explore. I would consider Office 365 subscription. You get free trial and you can use it for up to 30 days, and this is enough time for you to get prepared. You can also use outlines from test providers on their website. For example, Indeed.com has a lot of sample questions that they provide and the answers as well. You can also try LinkedIn Excel assessment test. One of the best ways to get ready is download and read Excel books and ebooks. And last but not least is consider subscribing to this channel. I post new videos periodically and you get answers to the latest questions that are being asked in the tests today. Now let's continue and help you to get ready for Excel interview and assessment test. Very frequently, you're being tested on your knowledge of Excel formulas. And this is one of those questions, where you will be asked which formula is used to retrieve first 3 characters in a cell. And you're given 4 different choices: left, left char, get, and extract. So what does it mean, first 3 characters in a cell? It means that it's probably going to be on the left side. So for a sample of apple, you see on the column C, where the values are highlighted, first 3 characters would represent APP. For oranges, it would be ORA. So what do you think is the right choice here? As you're probably well aware, to get the first 3 characters on the left side, you would want to use the left formula. And when you type left and then in parentheses the cell value and then number of characters you'd like to retrieve on the left-hand side, it actually gets all these characters and puts them in a different cell. So for example, in this case, for apple, we'll get first 3 characters, APP. And we can replicate this formula by dragging the sign here at the bottom right corner, and then it will replicate the formula for oranges and cherries as well. So the correct answer here is A, which is the left A3, and then it shows the number of characters that you're trying to retrieve. Left char is not an existing function. Get and extract also are not an existing functions in Excel. And if you're trying to see if some particular function is an existing function, all you need to do is put the value into the cell and then type equal sign and then start typing, and you see the only function that starts with left is the left function itself. So choice A is the correct answer. A lot of people ask, how can I help on this channel? One of the best ways to help is to help other people answer the questions that they're getting. If you know the answer to the question that you see in comments, please post the answer in the comment section of this video. Now let's continue and help you to get ready for Excel interview and assessment test. Very frequently, you might be asked how to solve specific problem during Excel assessment test. For example, in this question, you will be asked how to calculate total units sold by Jason. And you're presented with the table down below, which shows months, salesperson, and number of units sold information. One of the salespeople here is Jason, but there are also other salespeople. And the question is, what would you use? How can you find out total numbers of units sold for Jason? And the presented choices is multi-sum, sum if function, if sum function, or sum formula. Which one would you use? Typically in Excel, when you have no conditions, you can just use sum function and calculate total of sum of values. In our case, we do have one condition, as we need to calculate units sold for Jason. And for that, we would need to use sum if function. This is how sum if function will look like to calculate the required values. We have a range of B2 through B11, which is the names of salespeople, and we are finding values for Jason, which is the value of A15. And then we're getting the sum of values in the column C with the range of values C2 through C12. So when we hit enter to complete the calculation, for Jason, 361 units have been sold. So the correct value for this question is value B, sum if function, because sum if function used to calculate sum of values when you need to calculate sum with one criteria condition. And this is the syntax of the formula that you can use. Can I ask you to do me a favor? If you like the content, please give this video a big thumbs up to tell us that you need more content like this. Now let's continue and help you to get ready for Excel interview and assessment test. Very often, you might be asked the question on how to perform specific function in Excel. For example, in this question, which formula you would use to remove a percentage sign and convert it into space. And in the example given, you see that in column A, there are values that have percentage sign in between the words. And in column B, the values already replaced percentage sign with the space sign. And the choices presented are replace, remove, find and replace function, and substitute function. So which one would you choose? The correct answer is to use substitute function. And the syntax would be substitute, then you reference the cell A1, and then you're saying that you're substituting percentage sign with the space. The easiest way to replicate the values from cell B2 would be to drag the values down, or you can also use copy by clicking the copy button, then selecting the area for which you would like to replicate the value and clicking paste button. So the correct answer here is D, substitute function, because this function replaces any unwanted word with the word that you want. The tricky part of this question, and that there is a also option that looks very, very valid. For example, find and replace function. But find and replace is the functionality in Excel. There's no such function as find and replace. So you need to be careful and read the entire answer and make sure you're not making the mistake. The only function that exists is substitute, that can make this substitution of percentage sign with the space. Can I ask you to do me a favor? If you know someone who is getting ready for interview or Excel assessment test, please share this video with them. This is going to help them pass and get their dream job. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Now let's continue and help you to get ready for Excel interview and assessment test. Let's look at the question, how to highlight duplicate values by using conditional formatting. What you see on the screen here is the set of values in two columns, fruit ID and then fruit name. And you see in green some of the values that are duplicates. You see grapes that are duplicates, you see lychee, you see date palm as a duplicate, and you need to highlight all of the values. And there are four possible choices. And you have all the choices pretty much the same, but the last part of the selection is different. You have identify duplicates, you have highlight duplicates, matching values, and then you have duplicate values. Seems like a technicality, but these are the types of questions that you get on the test. So what do you think is the right answer? To identify duplicates in Excel, you need to highlight all the values, and then click Conditional Formatting, highlight Cell Rules, and then click on the duplicate values. And then here, in this dialog box, you're presented with the choices that you're selecting a duplicates, and this is the color that you choose to highlight the duplicates. For example, to replicate the question that was on the test, you need to select green field with dark green text. Click OK, and you see that all the duplicates have been highlighted. So the correct answer here is D. First, you need to select and then go to Conditional Formatting from the Home tab, and then highlight Cell Rules and click Duplicate Values and choose your color. Keep in mind that though choices A through C are very similar looking, but they're not the same, and those technicalities is something that you'll be tested on Excel assessment test. If you would like to take a shortcut and get prepared faster, make sure to check out the description of the video and download available materials. Please make sure to check out my ebook, Top 50 Excel Interview and Assessment Test Questions. It not only provides you insider view of the testing process, but also gives you top questions and answers, keyboard shortcuts, allows you to learn the best ways to prepare for the test. You can also learn what to do when you arrive for the test, and it gives you tips and tricks and hacks to get ready. Links to available downloads are in the description of this video. Let's look at the question, which function can be used to remove unwanted space from a cell? And what you see here on the list, you see a column A populated with values, and some of these values have multiple spaces. For example, in between words, there's a series of spaces. And four choices are presented. And you see the text here is not in English. Some of the words are in English. So you have to pick the function that would be working not just in English, but in any other language. And four choices are presented. We have a choice of remove space, clear function, trim function, delete char function. So what do you think is the right answer? And the correct answer is trim function. When you start typing in column B and you type trim, you see this help here that comes from Excel. It removes all spaces from a text string except for a single spaces between words. What you need to do, you need to type the trim function and then in parentheses put the cell A2, which would reference the cell in the column A, and then hit enter. And you see that it removed all extra spaces, and then what you need to do, you need to just drag it across the area using the drag button, which was available right here in the bottom left corner, and then you see that all extra spaces have been removed. Other choices presented in the test are not valid choices. For example, if you start typing remove, or you need to type clear, or any other choices that's presented in the quiz, you will not find those types of functions in Excel. So this particular question relies on your knowledge and understanding that trim function is available and this is what it's used for. If you have a choice of working and accessing Excel document during the test, you can quickly run a test and eliminate choices A, B, and D from the list because they are not valid choices and these functions don't exist in Excel. And by now you probably figured out that the correct answer is C, which is a trim function, which is used to remove unwanted spaces, and I showed you the format of how to use this function. I'd like to ask you to participate in our daily Excel assessment test challenge. I post new question every day in the community tab of this channel and give you an opportunity to answer this and try it. And I post the answer in the comments next day. So please make sure to check it out and test your knowledge. Now let's continue and help you to get ready for Excel interview and assessment test. Please make sure to check out my PDF ebook, Top 50 Excel Interview and Assessment Test Questions. It helped a lot of people to get hired. Also, consider subscribing to this channel. We have a lot of people helping each other, and here you will get answers to all your questions related to Microsoft Excel interview and assessment test. If you like the content, please share with other people who are looking for the job and will benefit from this. And give this video a big thumbs up. If you have a question about Excel assessment test or would like to share with us what are the recent questions that you're getting during the test, please make sure to leave them in the comments. We have a community of dedicated people helping each other to pass the test. All the best on your Excel interview and assessment test.